a book one one's all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book A Bridge to Light and Love, no other than Mr. Micheal Waters.
Thank you for the introduction.
Welcome, Mr. Micheal, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I must?
Yes. In 2014, we decided to move out of state, hopefully to a warmer climate. We were living in Seattle, Washington at the time. And we had a rather unusual thing happen. My wife started having some very lucid dreams that she heard people in our backyard, which turned out to be a Native American spirits, trying to convince her to stay on the property and not sell the house. And I guess try to learn some things that they were trying to teach us, which turned out to be psychopomp. What they wanted to do was to have us learn how to cross people into the light, lost souls into the light that didn't originally go there when they died.
Hmm. Okay. So, that'd be interesting, Mr. Interesting indeed, Mr. Micheal, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Bridge to light and love. Your journey is unique because you experienced this as a couple. How did undertaking this profound, often internal work together either strengthen your relationship or create a unique challenges that also seeker would not face?
Well, that's a good question. And how I would answer that is that we contacted spirits in different ways. Part of what they taught us was that they wanted us to study shamanism. And so we did so, as well as learn how to cross spirits into the light through their bequest. And what I learned was that I didn't have the skills that my wife did. She was a bit of a medium. And so she was able to do that in lucid dreams and sometimes, just concentrating really hard in meditation. But I used a different method altogether because we were on kind of I guess, a different frequency, different energy, whatever you want to call it. And what I used to contact the spirit world was shamanic travels or shamanic journeys, where we used drumming. And that we learned that from a book that was named uh, got it right behind me. The Way of the Shaman, The Way of the Shaman by Michael
Mhm.
Harter, who was an anthropologist.
Okay, so, Mr. Micheal, tell us, what was the specific moment or life circumstance that acted as a final catalyst, pushing you both from curiosity into full immersion of the shamanic path?
Well, the spirits in our backyard, which were Native American spirits, uh, requested that we learn these skills of how to cross people into the light, which we did, and then we practiced that, and we were very successful at it. Actually, uh, there was a lot of, and I used to ask the spirits, how did we come to you, or how did you come to us? How did you get the energy or the light or whatever it is to come to us? And they said we would just follow the energy trail that was left by you somehow. I don't know how. And then they would know to come to us, and we would help them to cross into the light. Because these people, when they died, they did not go into the light. And if you don't go into the light very soon, then the light becomes dimmer and dimmer.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yes. So, as a couple, did you often perceive the same spiritual experiences or entities in widely different ways? How did you navigate reconciling to every personal truth thus into one shared narrative for the book?
We basically took our extensive notes that we wrote down. And I don't know what possessed me to do that, but I did. And all of these, because there was just such fantastical experiences that we were having, that I felt like I needed to write them down. At the time, I didn't really expect to be writing a book or be doing anything with it. It was mostly for myself and for my wife, so we could look back and say, "Wow, that really did happen." And so we ended up when the spirits in our backyard asked us to write a book about our experiences, we that is what we used. We used our journals. We had many journals from, I guess, about 5 years of 6 years of doing all of this psychopomp work, which is basically crossing people into the light.
Okay. Well, so Mr. Michael, the title mentions a bridge. For readers who live in a modern, rational world, what is the most practical daily life plank, the bridge that you built to assess the spirit world?
Well, in some ways, the the bridge was my wife and I, Kathy, because we helped people to bridge into, I guess you would call it, a state of being lost into a state of going into the light where they should have gone in the first place. But for one reason or another, people don't do that. They're either guilty because they did something wrong, some kind of crime, some kind of murder, some other kind of heinous crime. Sometimes they wanted to stay behind because they wanted to watch over children or loved ones. So there's many reasons why people don't go into the light as they're supposed to. Um, and then the longer that they wait, the harder it is to find that light again. That's why there's lost souls. And that is the reason why they would come to us and ask to be put into the light. And a lot of times it wasn't even the person that was lost that would ask. It would be a family member, somebody who had already crossed into light, and they would guide them to us, and then we would guide them in.
Mr. Michael, whose perspective shifted more dramatically on this journey? Yours or your partner's? Or what was the most compelling piece of evidence or experience that shattered their skepticism?
You mean for the people that read the book?
Yes, please.
Well, we did have a lot of people that did not believe what we said, and it didn't really matter to us that they didn't believe us because it is pretty fantastic. I mean, I in some ways I don't blame them. I, I maybe would have done the same thing and not say these people are making all this up, or they're on drugs, or I don't know what their issue is, but psychotic. But this these experiences really did happen to us, and if you want to believe it, fine. If you don't want to believe it, that's fine. It all depends on your understanding of the world and your energy and what you're ready to hear and what you're not ready to hear. Because there's a lot of things that go on in the world that we have no explanation for. And like the famous French philosopher Rene Descartes said, at one time or another, you have to make a leap of faith. He was talking about God, of course. So I guess I would have to say, if people want to believe that these were actual experiences that we went through, that's fine. If they don't, then that's their prerogative, and that's fine too.
How crucial is finding the right teacher or guide to facilitate these immersions, and what qualities did you learn to look for when entering this vulnerable space, Mr. Michael?
Well, that's a good question because we didn't really look for anything. They found us and they looked for us and they asked for our help. And I'm talking about the spirits. We had one spirit in particular that helped us. His name was Joseph. He was the chief of there was actually a spirit tribe in our backyard, which was an old Native American settlement, and he's the one that did most of the teaching to us. And all I can say is that he was very instrumental in us, and he encouraged us to learn different ways, like Michael Harner's Way of the Shaman and many other books that we wrote, or pardon me, not that we wrote, but that we read.
Mhm. So, Mr. Michael, what was the hardest part of coming back, integrating the and lessons from your spiritual immersions into mundane routines of jobs, chores, or social obligations?
Uh, it was difficult because I was still running my construction company the whole time that we did this. So it was very strange sometimes going out and remodel somebody's kitchen and then coming back at night and crossing souls into the light. It was I mean, as I look back on it now, it almost seems like a dream, that some kind of fantastical dream that I had, and it was all in my head, but it was not in my head. And our journals chronicled everything that we did and everything that we thought and everything that we planned to do, and that's what went into our book.
Hmm. What is the one specific actionable practice or insight from your shamanic immersion that a reader could use tomorrow to bring more light and love into a current relationship or family dynamic?
Oh, that's a very good question, and I've thought about that many times. Uh, when we first started crossing people into the light, some of the people, because we actually were able to talk with them, and we could ask them questions and they could answer us, and a lot of times people were really, how would I say, unrepentant about some of the things that they had done in their life. And I remember we asked our spiritual guide, Joseph, I was like, really? Are we supposed to cross this person in light? You know, is not a good person. And he says, I'm glad you brought that up. He says, it's not for you. It's not for you to decide who and who does not get to go into light. He says, everybody goes into the light, no matter how good, no matter how bad. No, and some of these people were pretty bad. I mean, they had been murderers. I remember one lady, she said she shot her husband and she shot herself and she'd do it all again and she wasn't sorry. And I thought, wow, really?
Hmm.
But when we explained to her that there was, she said, "There's nobody on the other side waiting for me. I'm by myself. I've put myself in this hell, and this is where I'm going to stay." And we said, "Well, you know, there is people on the other side that do want you over there." And we would imagine us going closer to the light and it opening. Of course, we were using it. It wasn't coming from us. It was coming from these people. We just made it kind of like available for them, like a teacher does. And they would look into the light without going into it. It's like you could look into this light, apparently, and they could see people on the other side that were crying, they were beckoning them forward, they wanted them to join them in the afterlife. And usually, I mean, there was very few times that these people didn't eventually go into the light and be with those loved ones that were wanting them to be with them.
Hmm. Mr. Michael, with the backgrounds likely rooted in a modern worldview, how do you now reconcile the rational scientific understanding of reality with the animistic spirit filled reality you immerse in?
Well, it's certainly something that I would have never dreamed of in my wildest dreams, and it has certainly opened my eyes to that there is a something behind the veil, and it's very beautiful. It was always very emotional when we crossed somebody over. We would always have tears in our eyes, and as people would have tears in their eyes, and they'd eventually go into the light, and then they'd be gone. And a lot of times, some of their relatives would come back to us and thank us for helping them finally get into the light, because it seems like on the other side, and I'm just speaking from my own experience. I'm not an authority on the afterlife by any means, but from our experience, it seems like there's not really any time on the other side. I mean, because some of the people that we crossed over were very, very old. I mean, we're talking about prehistoric old, and some of them were Middle Ages, some of them were modern. So there doesn't seem to be any concept of time. It's just all the same there. And
Mm.
so, what I'm trying to say is that it didn't seem to matter what time it was.
What was the humbling lesson the spirit world taught you about your own ego, your relationship patterns, on your place in the cosmos?
Could you answer that? I mean, ask that one more time. I didn't quite get it.
Yes, what was the most humbling lesson the spirit world taught you about your own ego, your relationship patterns, or your workplace in the cosmos?
Well, I think what I would say to that is that, and we just talked about this short time ago, is that we don't really get to judge who gets to go into light and who doesn't get to go into light. That's the universe, God, whoever, whatever force is in this light that helps people find where they're supposed to eventually go after they die. Um, as far as I'm concerned, that was the most profound thing that I learned, is that we really don't get to judge, and we shouldn't judge. I mean, we put ourselves as human beings as judge and jury over other human beings, and in afterlife, it's not really like that, because there's so much love in the and that is part of what our title of our book is about: bridge to light and love. I mean, because what we were doing was kind of a bridge to get to light and love, and light and love seems to be the currency of the afterlife, of the heaven, if you will, or nirvana, or whatever you want to call it. And so it's very humbling to see it in action, because the unconditional love that's on the other side is really remarkable. It's very emotional for you when you go through it.
Mhm, yes. Follow the lights. We follow the lights. So, if you could ensure the one specific type of a person or couple reads your book, who would they be, and what message do you most hope they receive?
Well, the type of person that I would imagine that would be reading our book is someone who's searching for the answer to: where did they come from? Where are they going? What was my purpose here to be on Earth? And I think that Earth is just basically a school. It's a school that, of course, you kind of have to believe in karma and reincarnation here. So just let me go on a limb there. And I think that each time that we come back, we learn something from our lives, and we carry it forward, and we improve ourselves in some way. Maybe not. If we don't improve ourselves, then we got to go back and do it again. And so, uh, I guess I would say that life is basically just a school to try and better yourself for the next incarnation.
Mhm.
That's my biggest takeaway.
Interesting, Mr. Michael. Interesting indeed. Shamanic traditions emphasize reciprocity with the spirit world.
Mhm.
What do you feel you know or committed to giving back in exchange for the gift you receive?
Uh, that's a good question. I think what I learned was that that's a tough question. I don't know if I can answer that one. That's a tough one.
So if that's a tough one, let's do to the next. How is your definition of these terms, light and love, being utterly transformed from your pre-immersion understanding of what you know?
Well, our title kind of says it in a way, because the light and love are both connected. I mean, they're both one and the same. The light is the love is the light, and I think to when you pass away, when you die, when you transition, whatever you want to call it, that is the ultimate goal of your death is to get to that place again of light and love.
Mm, okay. So this is spiritual immersion lead you to a tangible physical changes in your lives, your health, your home, your work, or how you interact with nature.
Well, I think all of those. I think how you interact act with nature and um, nature basically is part of the light and love because everything in the universe has a soul. Everything, and they call that animism. And animism, which is kind of Eastern thought, the Native Americans and a lot of indigenous cultures believed in animism that you have to respect everything. Like, for example, when the Native Americans took a life of a deer, they would always hold it and say it's okay. You're giving back. Your life was meaningful, especially to me right now because I'm hungry. And so there was always that respect with any kind of animism in any type of culture that used it. And so when you consider this animism in respect to how we treat each other, modern culture is not very animistic. In fact, the Catholic Church, which I grew up into, said that in the Catholic Bible, of course, there's many Bibles, but the Catholic Bible says that man is in charge of monitoring, or I guess I should say, lording over any type of um, I'm at a loss for words here, for any type of stewardship, I guess, of the earth. It's all man, but that's not really how it works. I think how it works is that we need to have respect for everybody and everything, and if we did, the world would be a lot better place.
Mr. Michael, the book covers an immersion, but the path continues. What does your spiritual practice look like today in the aftermath of writing and sharing this story?
That's a good question. Like I said, I was originally grew up Catholic, and then that kind of evolved. I was actually thinking about becoming a Catholic priest for a while, but they decided that was not where I wanted to be. But this was, of course, many years later. Both my wife and I were not Catholic. We were not any type of religion, but we did believe in a personal relationship with God, and that was the most important thing. Whether it was a particular religion or not, it didn't really matter.
Mhm. So, Mr. Michael, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in its third season, and my book 101 review in its sixth season as well. Comedy 101 in third season, and my food 101 in sixth season as well. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 or fourth season, science 101, sex 101 in its third season, and of course, my baby podcast, Trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and my Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Michael, when a reader closes the final page of the Bridge to Light and Love, what is a single feeling or question do you most hope lingers with them?
Well, that there is an afterlife and that we all have the ability to go into that afterlife. And uh, I would suggest is that if people die, they keep that in their mind before they pass when they transition, and just remember that that is the best place that you can go, and you're going to be able to have the power to like help your ancestors, or your ancestors will help you uh, to help the people that are still on earth. If you don't go into light, you don't, all you are is a frustrated old ghost, and there's really not anything, you don't have any power. But if you go into the light, you do. So
Mhm.
that's my biggest takeaway there.
Yes, people follow the light. And thank you, Mr. Michael, for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite the listeners to support your book, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Well, right now I'm rewriting the book because a lot of things have changed.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Mr. Michael. Go ahead.
Oh, I just said a lot of things have changed in my perception of not only the universe, but what I would have written in the book in the first place. So I am rewriting the book, and I'm not sure if it's just going to be a total rewrite or it's going to be Love and Light too. So that's how I guess that's my biggest project right now, other than a speaking career that I'm just trying to put together. So I'm available for speaking.
Well, good luck for that, Mr. Michael, and looking forward for more success. So, Mr. Michael, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. Bye now.
Modicon people, see you soon.